Chug hard. Harder. Harder. Harder.
Well, I say back to the old drawing board.
And one's called Mermaid and the other's called Graphviz. So you went from A to B, from B to C, from C to D, from C to E. Okay. If you go from A to F, see what that looks like. Did it not? Oh, there we go. Hey, that looks cool. I like that graph. If we add a title to it, we can hyperlink. We can make a cross-reference. The specification here that they have is 2% symbols. So %%. That up and down operator. So those three characters together, double % symbol pipes. You should be able to try any chunk command. So we should be able to do an echo :true. So if it works, we should get the code in your document.
Here we go.
Sweet. Okay, so that's working. Let's get a title in there and see if we can cross-reference it. Let's render it and see if it works.
No, there it is. Figure 1.
That's awesome. So now we should be able to cross-reference that anywhere in the document. So it should just be at whatever our label is, fig dash diagram, I guess. I don't know why we had such a hard time with it. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Do you want to try a theme? So if you go to the YAML, move the HTML on line 3 underneath the format. So then now they want, underneath HTML, they want a return and a tab, and then Mermaid. So they actually have options in here for Mermaid. So yeah,
there we go, theme.
Yeah, theme. Now it looks like there are 4 Mermaid themes.
Oh, there we go, forest.
If we wanted to customize it a bit, maybe the first thing to change is the node shape. Like there's a circle, for example. If you want to make one of those nodes a circle, it looks like it's just 2 parentheses.
Let's change one of the squared ones. Let's change it for a circle.
Yeah, exactly.
There we go. Now it's a circle.
What other shapes do we want? I guess there's a double line circle. If you just add one more parenthesis instead of 2 parentheses, you add 3 parentheses. It'll make it a double line circle. I don't know. We can, again, you can add text to the lines too. That's kind of cool.
They're double circle.
Yeah, I like the double circle. That worked really well, didn't it? What did you do?
Okay. Instead of dashes there, the result sign, the equal sign.
Oh, it is. Okay, I gotcha. I'm not seeing a lot here for sizing. I know you can render to an image, so we could size it that way. We could just make like a PNG. I think that code chunk needs to say Mermaid, because all of these are going to be Mermaid charts.
Oh, there it is.
Well, that's coming up with a theme too, huh? So the Gantt chart, that's kind of neat. It looks like the syntax is very similar to a flowchart, so it's probably shared across images. If you start a new line with direction, and then again we have TD, we have LR.
Oh, there we go.
So you
work.
Okay. But to me, the big difference between the state and the flow is those open and end points. I think Graphviz is going to probably be more directly applicable to people like you and me, Diego, who might want to map out theoretical associations between things like psychological constructs, or maybe even represent an analysis like a factor analysis or something. Just like we do an R chunk or a Python chunk, we can make a Mermaid chunk or a Graphviz chunk, and using their syntax, we can create these nice visuals. This image that's being produced here on the right from the syntax on the left, if I hover over the white space, I just see the title. Here we called it Unix. But if I hover over these individual elements, I also get information about those elements. So 5th edition here, I get 6th edition, I get 32V. That's different from what we get from the Mermaid produced diagrams. And so that to me is a real differentiating feature across these. So if you look at the syntax here, they're permitting distortion, orientation, and skew for all of these polygons. Now, the main feature that we saw was the sides. And so you can see for this 5th edition element that's on the top, we just specified 3 sides with no skew, no distortion. And the orientation is also set in terms of 360 degrees, I believe is the scale. It's just set at 0. So it's a triangle that's not on its head. There's a sequence of scripting that defines the nodes themselves, those shapes. And then underneath that, there's just a series of what's connected to what. We looked at cluster objects as well. Again, the syntax is fairly straightforward in terms of relationship among objects. The thing that we thought was neat was on lines 28 and 29 here, the shapes of these beginning and ending objects, they're just intuitive. We can change the name of this. It doesn't need to be start. It can be Diego, and we just want to make sure to be consistent up here in terms of the flow itself, these elements. There's Diego and a hexagon. The take home from the last 2 weeks is that the Mermaid graphs render nicely for things like slide decks or HTML files where you may want to see through the background. So we had transparent backgrounds by default on the Mermaid images. If you were to want to maintain the individual elements as individual elements within your diagram, then the Graphviz seems like probably the way you actually want to go, because we are getting customized, specified feedback based on these individual elements that are in this fairly complex object here that we created.